Hey everyone, and welcome back. So doing a news update because there's been a lot of announcements. Some of them I definitely missed over the last, week or so. I really wanted to get a video out last week, but wasn't able to. So trying to play a little bit of catch up, but I'm glad I did because definitely have a lot of new announcements to cover that have come out, including a couple rumors that we may even come true before this week is out. And I do want to mention real quick, probably the most obvious thing is that, which I will cover more in an upcoming update video. But yes, I did cut my hair back just a bit. Unfortunately, the haircut didn't quite go as planned, so it's a little bit in flux at the moment. I know most of you don't care about my hair issues, which I appreciate, but just for my own sake. A little bit of a hassle at the moment, but yeah, I'll get into that in another video. Definitely don't need it for this. So as far as the news go, I've got a lot of stuff to go over. So first up, I actually do have two studio announcements that are pretty cool. First up, coming from Paramount, due out on September 5th, is a 4K release of Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. And there are going to be two versions of it, a standard release as well as a steelbook. And actually the steelbook looks kind of cool. Looks like it has even a bit of a booklet or something included with it. And I've always loved the look of that film, so actually that one should look really good in 4K. And then coming from Sony on September 26th is one I'm actually really happy about. It's a 4K release of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which some of you may remember last year when the first film came out. I was like, I kind of hope that the second one actually comes out because I'm kind of a fan of the second one. But I was like, Sony's not going to do that. Well, consider me wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. They are, in fact, doing a 4K release. Didn't have too many details for Sleepy Hollow, but as far as this one goes, it does have a new 4K restoration from the original negative that is approved by director Danny Cannon. Be Dolby Vision and HDR have a new Dolby Atmos track as well as the 5.1 track, which I believe is the original theatrical mix, as well as a new commentary track with director Danny Cannon. He still knows what he did, an interview with Muse Watson, and the included Blu-ray will also have a making of featurette as well as a music video and the theatrical trailer. And again, that is due out September 26th, so yeah, I'm actually happy that that's actually coming out. Next up, I do have an announcement from Vinegar Syndrome regarding their recent Showgirls 4K release. So there is actually going to be a replacement for it. There was an issue in the 5.1 track as well as some issues, I think, with some of the subtitles. And I think the 5.1 track, I think it kind of goes in and out of 5.1. I don't know if it goes from like 5.1 to just stereo or so. I don't know what the problem was. Either way, it's being fixed as well as the subtitles. So this is good news because I don't think it's been sold anywhere just yet. Like the retail version, I don't even know if it's up for pre-order yet. So I assume any of us who have it got it directly from Vinegar Syndrome, and they're just basically just going to send you the disc. And I think for subscribers like me, and if you're one too, I think they basically just send it out like the next subscription package. So for me, probably sometime like end of July maybe. And then by the time the retail version comes out, obviously that'll have the corrected disc already. So I want to give you the heads up on that. So there's nothing we need to do. They're just going to send it to you. Then we move over to Kino. So before I get to some of the Kino announcements, I actually do want to mention one thing that is kind of sad, but I'm glad it's, at least on some level, I'm pretty sure it's still happening, is their 4K release of Leviathan is delayed. Now, it's not canceled, it's delayed. Apparently, the original camera negative is housed in Italy, and for some reason they've kind of not responding to messages, so both Kino and MGM have been trying to contact the company in Italy that houses the negative, and they just haven't heard anything. So I mean, I hope nothing's wrong. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully, the negative still exists, but unfortunately, on the sad note, obviously that is getting delayed. So and there's a good chance, even if this does work out soon, probably won't come out this year, most likely next year. And fingers crossed, because I really was looking forward to that, so I hope it still happens. And speaking of Kino, we do actually have a couple of announcements. So one, which I did mention in previous video, I just wasn't sure who was putting it out, but they're the ones who actually are going to be putting out the new 4K release of the Monster Squad. Now, no details just yet, just the announcement. It is set to due out later this year, but they did say that it is indeed getting a new 4K scan from the original camera negative. So luckily that negative is not locked up in Italy somewhere or anywhere else. So that is good news, and hopefully that's coming maybe in, October or something. And the next two announcements for Kino are Blu-ray only. They did announce that they're releasing both the original Fletch and the sequel Fletch Lives later this year. Will be Blu-ray only. We'll have new 2K transfers, but unfortunately it's not 4K. I know a lot of people are just like, why isn't it getting a 4K? And I gotta admit, I kind of wish they were too. Bit of a missed opportunity, but I don't know if that has something to do with the Universal, some licensing deal there. Who knows? But on the plus side, I mean, both of those films, especially the first film, needed a new transfer. So, I mean, at least the Blu-ray should look really good. And who knows, maybe 4K will come out down the line, hopefully. And then the next announcement, also coming later this year, I believe later this year anyway, is a new Blu-ray release of Death Wish 5, which is actually really good news. Death Wish 5 has actually not been on video, at least here in the States, I think since DVD. I think it was tied up in some other rights issues with another company or something. So it's actually a first-time Blu-ray release here in the States. And that's really good because, again, that's the only one that sort of hasn't really gotten a release yet. In fact, the Blu-ray copy I have, I think, was Umbrella, from Australia. I think that's the version I have. So yeah, glad that is finally getting a US release. Again, no further details at the moment on a lot of these, but happy we can really sort of fill out our Death Wish Blu-ray collections, and I'm still holding out that maybe at some point somebody will put out Death Wish 3 in 4K. I'm gonna keep hoping for that. And next up we move over to Severin, who's having a big sale this coming weekend. I'm gonna cover that as we get into the weekend a lot more, but they have announced several of their titles. Right now I'm just gonna cover the main 3, and then I'll cover everything else later. But these main 3 are really awesome in my opinion. But as far as the sale goes, just as a heads up, everything is going to be half off on the website, with the exception of anything that's come out, I think, this year. Anything in the last, from January till now is not included in the sale, as well as some of the box sets. I think some of the merch, some of it's on sale, some of it isn't. But I believe everything else will be half off. And I know I've missed out on a couple titles as well, so I'm looking forward to checking out the sale this weekend, which does start technically Thursday night at midnight. Now, I don't know if that's Eastern. I think it's Eastern time, maybe. And it goes to the end of July 3rd, which is next Monday. So the 3 titles that they announced that I think are really exciting are new 4K releases of some films. So the first one is a 4K release of The Last Horror Film, starring Joe Spinell and Caroline Munro. It's getting a new transfer from the original camera negative. It's going to be a 2-disc set, the 4K disc as well as an included Blu-ray, and it looks like even, I believe the included Blu-ray is also going to be region-free, which is good. It's also going to have an exclusive slipcover under an alternate title that had been put out, which is kind of covered up in the image, but if you look closely, I'm guessing it says Maniac 2 as an alternate cover, even though it has nothing to do with Maniac. Well, sort of. I mean, it technically has this 2 leads for Maniac, but that's the only connection there. But it's kind of like some of their other releases that came out under alternate titles, especially in other countries. So I always get a kick out of that. And the next announcement is another Lucio Fulci film getting the 4K treatment, and this time it is The Psychic. And this is going to be a 4-disc set. So we're going to have the 4K disc, 2 Blu-rays, as well as the CD soundtrack. It's got a new 4K transfer from the original camera negative. It's got a bunch of new special features. And again, I love that it comes with the soundtrack. Now, the included Blu-rays in this set, though, will be regionally locked. So just a heads up on that. And then the third 4K title is Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, which actually kind of surprised me. I don't think this was put out by... Is it Code Red? I think on Blu-ray like years ago. So it's actually getting now a 4K release. Has been transferred from the original inner negative, not the original camera negative. Not sure if the original camera negative even exists anymore. And this is going to be a 3-disc set. Obviously the 4K disc as well as 2 included Blu-rays. And the Blu-rays luckily will be region free for this one. And there's just a ton of extras on this as well. I know, I'm sorry I can't go into too details at the moment. I'm a little bit rushed today. I will go into details in a later video, but I assure you all these releases are definitely packed with extras. So I'm super excited about these upcoming Severin titles. Definitely want to get all 3. There's a couple also new Blu-rays that are coming out, which I'll cover a little bit later. But the 4K announcements were obviously the big ones. And now we move over into the rumor mill just a bit for Scream Factory, just kind of wrap up this video. But I think these rumors are not like, I mean, I'm calling them rumors until they're officially announced, but I'm pretty sure these 2 are coming, and they very well could be announced actually within the next week or 2. And that is indeed 4K releases of both The Blob remake, the Chuck Russell film, as well as a 4K release of Night of the Demons. Now, it's possible these may be the September titles, and could actually get even a couple more as well. I mean, again, I don't know if that Darkman one was like a real rumor or not. I mean, that could also get announced, but obviously I'll know once the announcements become official. But we should hear something very, very soon. But I definitely wanted to mention those. Because I think those definitely will be good ones, because like Night of the Demons, like the 4K restoration they did on that looked really good on the Blu-ray, so it should look really fantastic in 4K. Same thing with the Blob, that should actually be a really, really good one. That should be a nice one in 4K, and I think that's Sony is probably doing the master on that. So if you have any questions about any of these announcements, definitely let me know, and definitely let me know your thoughts. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.